All right. So I have put together the most complicated Path of Exile build I've put together yet. And so, real fast, I'll just show you what it does, which is just excretes a million different things while I wander around. So, right now, as I'm walking 4 or 5 times a second, I'm casting 5 different spells. And so, what causes that to happen is an unbelievably intricate, convoluted series of nonsense. So it all starts with a support gem called Cast When Damage Taken. And so when I take enough damage, I will trigger the spells attached to this support. And I'm using 3 different setups with this. And so it's mostly predicated on summoning these skeletons and then having them die. I've got rings here that I take damage every time a minion dies. And so with this minion speed support, a bunch of things on the passive tree, I reduce the duration of my skeletons to like 0.2 seconds or something like that. And so when they die, I take damage, which then causes me to resummon them. And then I also cast another skill which deals damage to myself. And so those things combined trigger all of these supports, then casting all of the spells attached to them. And I don't take any actual damage because of a very unique... I've never used this mechanic in this game before. I think this is the only use for it. It's a defensive mechanic called Ward, which acts as a shield for a single hit. And it will absorb that much damage for a single hit. And normally it takes like 4 or 5 seconds to come back after taking that damage. But there's a unique flask in this game that I have significantly less ward, but my ward doesn't break. And so as long as I am taking less damage per hit than I have ward, I'm not actually taking any damage. And so everything else around the build is around making sure that I have constant uptime on my flasks, so I always have this effect going, so I'm never actually taking any damage. And then there's a bunch of other mechanics around it technically count as taking damage, so I can get things like regain mana based on your damage taken recently, or regain life based on your damage taken recently. And so very early on this build, I have none of the actual damage here yet, but it is working, which is just exciting, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. Thanks.